another mapping stream. Hello, Spike Shark Gaming, and hi, Boom Donuts. Welcome back. It's currently Saturday, July 12, 2025. The year is going so fast. I'm going to be doing another mapping stream today. The last mapping stream was not last week's Saturday, not the preceding Saturday, but I suppose 3 weeks ago, which feels especially crazy because it doesn't seem like it's been all that long. But I'm excited to keep going with this project. The last stream was a huge success, and just looking forward to doing that again. Although, I've been very apprehensive about working on the next area of this map that we worked on last time. This section I'm going to be putting in today, because I had previously tried to make that section, and I thought it just wasn't to my standards, basically. So, I'm effectively redoing the work that I did before because I just wasn't happy with it. Yeah, almost 2026. Yeah, so this is going to be sort of a hub area that the player will be returning to later on. That's why I was careful to close the passage behind the player so that the part before this you won't return to, but this will be sort of a more non-linear section. And I had different ideas in mind. I wanted it to be this kind of like spiral ramp thing where you get out of the test chambers and then you're in this behind the scenes area with a big pit and you have to like scale up and around the pit, but it just didn't feel very natural. I think I want to go with a simpler shape, and I'm also thinking today I'm going to try to do more of like a block out style to start with before I try putting in textures. Usually I try to put in textures as I design the maps, but this time I'm doing it a little bit differently because I'm not sure how I want it to look yet. I know I want to use some kind of like a hexagonal design. I drew this on my whiteboard. These rooms, that's probably not how it's going to be shaped, but the whole idea is it's like a big hexagonal chamber. Wait, I just realized that's not a hexagon, that's an octagon. So it's an octagonal chamber. And there's going to be this thing called the vault door that you can't get through yet, but you will be able to later. And you're going to leave through a staircase. I know some of these details, but the specifics of how I'm going to put it together are kind of lost on me. I also have a few things related to this project that I worked on off stream that I want to show on stream, but I decided I'm going to save that for sort of like an intermission, because I think a lot of times at the beginning of a stream I like to show off stuff in game, and then I get too distracted to actually work in Hammer after that. So we're going to start in Hammer this time and only go into the game once we have some progress done. I want this to be a very big room. It's hard to do large scales in Source Engine because I feel like it always ends up being either smaller than what you expected or too big. It's either like too big and too empty and it doesn't feel natural, or it's too small and too cramped. And it's hard to get a happy medium. It's gonna err on the side of too cramped, but if I was to do like 2048 units, that would be too many, I think. Or would it? Maybe not. I think that would be too many. So I'm going to try to go to about here. This, I might have to change. I like fitting things onto the grid. Unless there's like a texture alignment reason, I think this should be fit onto the grid. Oh, the music is too loud. I'm sorry. I knew I was forgetting something, and what I was forgetting was my sound check. So please let me know if my microphone sounds okay, as well as the volume of the music and the volume of the game once we start testing in game. There we go. And this is the Progenitor's soundtrack from Blixabon. This track in particular was made by Spencer Baggett. this will be a little bit better. I think I want to start with this as a square. Corners. I don't know if I want this to be aligned perfectly with the door. Probably I do. I think so. So we'll start doing the top-down layout first before I start adding in shapes and then adding the walls, and then we'll add textures. Now it's all good? That's good. Good to know. We can keep it really simple by sticking to the dimensions of this corridor. It's just 128. Although I might need, yeah, I'm gonna need a wider hallway than that over here for the vault door. $56 good? Yeah, I think so. Maybe I can placeholder in the vault door as being one of these doors, although I want it to be more memorable than that. How are you guys doing today? Are you having a good week? I think this will do nicely. So I want to have basically some rooms that are offshoots from a corridor, and those rooms will have different things preventing you from getting in. So maybe one room needs you to have slams to blow a hole in something to, you know, like satchel charges. And another room might require a certain item, like maybe there's a puzzle. I was going to say one limited resource could be ammo as well, like a padlock that you have to shoot out. Did you post your stream in the Entropy Zero server? I did not, but that's a good suggestion actually. Maybe I'll do that now. I was also going to put an elevator at the end of this hallway, and I might still do that. But I think there should also be one on this end of the hub, because I'm going to have some stairs going up to the next level. Yeah, not as many viewers this time, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. You know, it really depends on what people are up to, who's around, you know. I don't expect to always have a high turnout. Hi John Doc, welcome. We're mapping today. So this might be a little bit of a problem because I want to have enough space to be able to put a staircase in. might have to do some quick math here. Trying to remind myself the usual ratio for stairs. Measurements. There's a Valve developer wiki page for this. Yeah, it's right here. So according to the VDC, and I do look this up pretty often, I think I usually disagree with their stair measurements, though. That's why it confuses me. Like, I don't think we always follow them in Entropy 02. Do they not have stair measurements? Because I wanted to say it was like, what is it again? Like 11 and 16 or something like that. Some like weird measurement. Sometimes I do 1 by 2. Let's assume it's 1 by 2 for now. Might be a bit too steep. But yeah, if I'm putting in stairs here at a 1 and 2 slope. Wait. That's how high up I can go, which actually isn't that bad. That could probably work. Scar Zero campaign map? Well, we don't know yet, right? Like we're still working on it. But it's looking like it will be decently long. Like, okay, so out of the maps we have so far, the first map, Nest 01, takes, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes to complete. This map is like maybe 5 minutes of content so far, plus this area is going to add like another 5-10 minutes. Then you go upstairs, and I'd expect that to be about half an hour. So now we're at around 50 minutes or something. If you assume there's also a prologue, that's another 10 minutes. So, I mean, then there's going to be more after that. So, altogether, probably about 2 hours. I don't know. I mean, I'm estimating, but I don't really like estimation. You know, it's like, you know, it's always going to be wrong. So, what's the point of trying to guess? What the stairs will actually look like, don't worry. Well, this doesn't give a lot of height for clearance, actually. I mean, granted it doesn't have to because it's not going to be shaped like this, but Gonum just barely fits under there. I think it'll be okay. Oops. What did I do for stairs in the first map? Because I think I had like a funky technique. Hi, Vizzies. Scar Zero mostly indoor environments. At present time, it is currently entirely indoors because it's set in it's set in the basement of Arbite 1, where Chapter 3 takes place. So there's no outdoor sections. Although I think there might be a prologue that takes place outdoors. And that's something I'll get into a little bit later in the stream as well. Yeah, I think I copied these stairs from Breadman or from Portal or something, but I like this style of stair where they're like kind of separated. Like I want to do something similar. Might even just grab that as a prefab. Let's see if the slope is the same. Because I don't think that's a 1 to 2 slope. Yeah, that's not. That's steeper. I think that works though, actually, and that gives me more clearance. We're just gonna reuse that prefab. Hope you're doing well today, Vizzies. Yes. Good. And this can probably just be like that. Even less. Yeah. That looks pretty good. I wonder what I should do about handrails. I know we always joke in video games when there's no handrails, like, oh no, it's not compliant, but like seriously, I do think just because it doesn't have to be realistic all the time doesn't mean they wouldn't have some safety standards, you know? There's got to be some kind of a handrail. Hi, Anderzilla. Welcome. What does that mean? I don't understand. Is Scar Zero an original member of Clone Cop Squad? Yes, absolutely. That's definitely implied in Entropy 02, but I think that's going to be very explicit in this add-on, right? Because that's kind of important to the story of this side character. Editing? Level editing? I don't understand, Enderzilla. I'm sorry. Is this some kind of encoded language? I like... I don't get it. I know I'm focusing too much on the detailing on this one staircase, but I think it'll be important because this will be your egress from this area of the level. I call my mom that since 3rd grade. Oh, that's kind of sweet, actually. How does Breadman typically handle railways, specifically in Chapter 3? Let's take a look. I think this folder is the right map source. No, it's not. This one. Scar Zero only going to be inside of Arbite or planning outside of Arbite? The main portion of the add-on is going to be entirely inside of Arbite 1. I think maybe we should have some kind of a flashback or like a prequel kind of thing as well, but I haven't done any work on that yet. So so I can't really say. Let's look at this area. I do want to show you guys something I worked on off stream. Basically, I took Chapter 2, Map 3 from Entropy 02, and I changed all the logic inside it so that you can play it as Scar Zero instead of playing it as Bad Cop. And I just had a lot of fun playing that. It was like a little experiment that I did. Okay, so we have these handrails that look really nice. I don't know if they would work well on a slope, though, is the only problem. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. Oh. Oh no, is that how that's how the handrails work? Did any of you guys notice that the handrails looked like that in Easy 2? I definitely didn't. And this area has no handrails. It does do that cool aperture thing though, where there's like a gradient orange underneath the stairs. Maybe I can do something like that. There's handrails over here too, but these are also not at an angle. Angled handrails are going to be surprisingly hard to pull off, I think. I think Breadman just avoided using them. Too busy running from the Gnome to see the weird handrails. Yeah, you're absolutely right. By design, in fact. What if I look at Chapter 3, Map 1? What does that look like? These maps are so good. Like, I gotta once again give huge props to Breadman for just the design of... I do like how there's like a placeholder texture for observation. Like, observation goes here. In universe, it's because they were like testing out the test chambers, right? So they didn't have everything finished. We've got a different handrail up here, but it still doesn't work at an angle. But I do really like this metal texture for like a support. Could come in handy. I didn't look at that while I was playing Easy 2. Exactly. Oh, we do the same thing over here. It's just like, hey, like don't look at it. Just don't pay attention to it. And there's no handrails on this one. Wow. Okay, so at least I feel a little bit less bad for struggling with the handrails so much. Because clearly that's a theme in Easy 2 that I never realized. Okay. We're just gonna try our best. I shouldn't dwell too much on this because I have to finish the block out. I just wanted to make sure to get this detail right because those stairs are gonna be really important as you're trying to leave this area of the facility. So cursed. Okay. That's not how handrails work. Let's make this at least like a 40. No, that's too steep of an angle. Maybe 30 degrees? I should calculate the angle of the based on the slope, but we're just gonna roll with it like this. Excited to see the Gnome nest again. Yeah, that's something I really want to do in this area, because one idea I have is that in the lower levels of Arbite 1, the Gnome is building in this nest. So that's what I tried to do right here. This one was a little bit pathetic, but there's going to be just like a large mass of this blue, you know, radioactive goop that the Gnome is slowly adding to. Sort of like this area over here that I did. I still need to put a different texture on this model, actually, to make it blue. The lighting does a lot of heavy lifting in that regard, though. I don't think that's good enough, but I think it's good enough for now. Honestly. That will, we'll just workshop it, you know? Oops. We'll come up with something better. Probably I want to do brush-based handrails because I want to be able to control the angle. Ooh, that doesn't look very good. I think, that's better. Surprised they got OSHA for these. Yeah, Aperture isn't known for complying with OSHA standards, but you know, they probably have some level of safety just for accident prevention. Just because they're evil doesn't mean they don't have some amount of basic common sense, you know. This is going to be one of those little things that just distracts me. I always have that when I'm trying to stream level design, where it's like, this is clearly wrong. We're going to move on from that for now, and we will return to it later. Because that looks terrible. Okay, okay. So I'm going in units of 128. I'll move this closer up to the top, and then we'll call it good for now. That's not how handrails work. Yeah, we're calling that good for now, and we will return to it. Hi, Coded. Coded, do you know very much about safety and handrails and how to install handrails on stairs? Seeing Scar Zero off an Axon would be disappointing. What do you mean, Enderzilla? Like you're saying you don't want to see him in Axon, Pariah? Coded, I need your help installing these handrails. OSHA is gonna get me. Okay, the saddest part of this is that if you don't look very closely at it, this actually doesn't look that bad. Like, I could kind of believe it. Hi, Agent Golem. We're currently failing to install handrails on on ladders. Sorry, no, stairs. Just cut the units down. Oops, there's no 64 unit one. Shoot. Sandbags work? How am I supposed to use sandbags on these stairs? Oh, that doesn't make any sense, Coded. Oh, that's not gonna work. Okay, I feel like I just keep making this worse and worse. We're gonna return to this and make it a handrails stream later on. Yeah, that is certifiably good enough for now. At the top and bottom? Coded, I don't think that's up to code. Mr. YouTuber said, what if we fight Scar Zero and Axon Pariah? Wait, who's Mr. YouTuber? Who's that? The Mr. YouTuber? Just don't report the change. Is that how it works? I see. Also, because this is floating in midair, I'm going to add some supports. Then I gotta get back to my block out. We're currently listening to the Entropy Zero Uprising soundtrack. This is a track called Getting Revenge by Employee 8. Wait, Wait, John Doc, are you Mr. YouTube? The Mr. YouTube? It's an honor. Why is this texture so wide? I think I picked the wrong one. I don't want beams that wide. Let me grab another one. I was noticing, I was looking through Portal's maps the other day, and I noticed that they use this texture specifically a lot. Like, I'm gonna open up Portal, Escape 01. Yeah, if we go in Portal, forgive the missing textures and missing models, they use that specific truss texture a lot. It is a very versatile texture. But I'm wondering, they're actually using it at half scale. Whoa. I thought Valve pretty much put all of their textures on 25% scale, like for pixel density consistency. That's what everybody told me. They're like, oh yeah, always use 25% scale. I guess Valve sometimes uses 0.125. It's crazy. It also makes sense because like this truss is at 25% scale and this truss is at 12.5%. I never would have, like, while I was playing Portal, never would have thought to look at that, honestly. I was talking about Scar Zero and Exxon, previous chat you didn't see. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your chat message. So what were you saying about Scar Zero in Exxon Pariah? It does make a lot of sense to use this texture at multiple scales, because then you can load one texture and use it for like very different types of geometry. That kind of efficiency I just don't even really think about anymore, because it's like, it's kind of diminishing returns. Like with a modern gaming PC, you're gonna have so much RAM that it doesn't really make sense to optimize for like loading one texture when they're such small textures. I mean, these are like, this one is 128 by 512. I mean, it's like nothing. Do you know anything about the Half-Life 2 Decay remake mod peer review and how it's getting close to public beta testing? No, I didn't hear anything about public beta testing. I've heard of peer review, and I am excited to play it when it comes out, but I haven't been following it very closely. I said it would be heartbreaking if we have to fight Scar Zero and Axon. That would be sad, because he's just a regular soldier, so of course, yeah, he'd be ordered to fight against you. Yeah, that would be sad. I'd like to come up with some kind of an excuse for him to stay on your side. I don't really know how that would work, because he wouldn't really have a reason to, but would be more satisfying for players, I think. What's the name of this track? That is called Salvation, and it's from the Uprising soundtrack by Employee 8. This one is CW3D 1 out of 3 from the Entropy Zero Uprising soundtrack. I was hoping you'd be more educated on it with me. Yeah, I mean, I'd go by whatever they say on their ModDB page. I haven't really kept up with the news, but I would be excited to hear more about it, because it looks like a really good project. Scar Zero meet Clone Cop? That's something that I've been thinking about myself because there isn't a lot of time for him to meet Clone Cop after the events of Chapter 2, right? Because at the end of Chapter 2, Clone Cop is leaving Arbite 1, and Scar Zero is being dragged off by the Gonome into the basement of... Ooh, look at the clipping on that. Yikes, what have I done? Maybe we'll actually just do, like, just get rid of that, and get rid of that, and it can just be supported by these two beams. Yeah, that works. It's so silly. Maybe I need smaller beams in the corner. But, no, I don't think Scar Zero will run into Clone Cop, like, after Chapter 2. It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think it's likely. I'm thinking about it for sure. But, it is possible that Clone Cop could appear before Scar Zero got captured if we do, like, a flashback sequence. Because Scar Zero doesn't have any of his personal memories, but he can remember the mission, right? And so he might have some sort of a recollection of a run-in with Clone Cop from that point in time. I think that seems right. We have to design this upstairs area yet. Oh, I think I left texture lock on. Oops. Yeah, we could do this. I think to save myself some work, this whole top floor is going to be like an interior area. Like there's going to be a door leading into a room. You're not actually going to be able to, like, it's not going to be like another open area. Oops, I did that wrong. That's what I meant to do. Yeah, that looks better. This seems so off-kilter. Where is the nearest restroom? I'm so glad that you're here to, like, make sure that I'm putting restrooms in. You're like the OSHA for this building, or the you know, building codes and stuff. The nearest restroom. So okay. So if we go through this hallway here, through a maintenance tunnel, into an Aperture Science test chamber, and you go through the test chamber. I haven't connected this test chamber yet. But then if you go into the next test chamber area, there's a miniature test chamber over here that's connected to an observation room. And in the observation hallway, this is all for, like, observers that are watching the test and, like, taking notes and stuff. There's a bathroom right here. So right now, in order to get to the bathroom, you'd have to walk all the way through the maintenance tunnel, through the test chamber, through the other test chamber, through this door. I guess if you're... yeah, you actually can't get up there unless there's boxes stacked right here. I don't think this is up to code, actually. Yeah, we'll put in some more bathrooms. Is it wheelchair accessible? Okay, so the test chambers are not going to be wheelchair accessible because only people who are approved for the test can go on them. Maybe there's like a lawsuit pending about that, actually. But then imagine they get robot legs. Yeah, exactly. The observation areas This is going to be wheelchair accessible because I'm going to add an elevator coded. Are we discriminating? Yeah, I think Aperture Science is discriminating. That seems like something they would do, if we're being honest. I don't think Aperture Science is very wheelchair friendly. Where would we add the bathrooms? Coded, why did... Now I gotta add bathrooms. Aperture Science is contacting you to ask about Wilson's extended warranty. Well, restroom for all gender. Yeah, actually, the first restroom I added was all gender because I didn't have space to put in 2 restrooms. We'll see. So, a couple on the subject of bathrooms. I think there's something that's kind of funny in this map. So this is a Canon EZ2 map that's in the game right now, right? There's not many bathrooms in the test area, but if you leave the test area, you go... Where am I? I'm over here. Into this maintenance area, where they're keeping the blue goo, the biotic cohesion gel. Then you go up these... I guess it's coded, you're right, it's not wheelchair accessible. But this is only for maintenance staff, so like, I think they have like controls for that. But if you go up here, there actually is a restroom that's in the game, and the main character comments on it. I just realized this isn't using the dialogue system, it's using a scripted sound. That's kind of funny. I think, or did we add an actual like response line for it? I don't think we ever did. Yeah, so that's not using the response system, that's just using like a hard-coded, the map plays a sound effect kind of deal. Most of the dialogue in that part of C3.2 are just scripted sounds. So I remember when we replaced the ambient generic entities with scripted sound. I thought that we went through and we made all those into scenes, but you're right, Blix, this is cursed. Like, this is actually not a choreographed scene, this is scripted sound. And if we go down here, is this a choreographed scene? This has to be. Yeah, that's a choreographed scene. That's a choreographed scene. And that's a choreographed scene. But, like, the bad cop dialogue over here is scripted. Scripted sound, which is a variation on ambient generic. Don't forget Bad Cop's lines in C13's Antlion guard fight uses scripted sounds. Some of those, if I'm not mistaken, actually... No, you're right. They're scripted sound. I was going to say they were ambient generic, but you're right. They're scripted sound. And that one really bothered me because he cuts himself off when a scripted sound plays. So he can be in the middle of saying a line of dialogue and then one of these fires and like cuts him off and he says something else. Which wouldn't happen if we were using the choreography system. Any tips for Aperture Portal 1 art style? Yeah, that's something that I've been struggling with too for this add-on, because that's what I'm trying to replicate here. And one thing that I did was I decompiled Portal's maps, not to, you know, reproduce the decompiled maps or to redistribute them, but just to like look at how they were made. And looking in here, I can learn a lot about how they use textures and props to create the style, as well as I can see what parameters they use for their lighting, which is helpful. I'm noticing a lot of the same textures, like almost all the textures they use in this behind the scenes section are the BTS textures. I mean, it makes sense, right? But there's like a specific subset of textures that they use pretty consistently throughout this. It's all the BTS textures. There's like a consistent palette of props that they use. So I think the aesthetic is made up of like very consistent use of textures and props to achieve that style. And we do kind of the same thing in EZ2, although we have like a slightly different, like we might use different handrails or different, we have our own version of the cube that we retextured or whatever the case may be. Hey, wait a minute, what's this? This is the handrail I should have used. think the slope is different on this, though. Oops. Do you mind if I quote the ModDB page? Yeah, sure. If you're talking about peer review. Also, this has no relevance to anything, but I never realized this is the specific speaker that GLaDOS speaks through. Like, I always just sort of accepted that GLaDOS was talking through a speaker somewhere. I didn't think about the fact that, no, like, GLaDOS is talking out of this machine. This is the speaker. That's crazy. The things you learn when you start, like, opening up maps in Hammer, it's just so much fun. Or, like, this vent is used for lighting. This is a lot like the lighting we use in Chapter 3, actually. Maybe that was where the idea came from. 8 missions playable out of 9. It's just shy of 90% playable. I wonder, because depends on how you're counting, right? Like, that's that many maps playable, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're close to release. I always thought it was a generic voice from the distance. Me too. But you can kind of tell, like, as you move that her voice is coming from a specific spot. It's not like it doesn't move with you. Would GLaDOS have control over Arbite if she was still awake at this time? That's a really good question. Yes, because she's able to remotely issue orders to Arbite. But no, I think because Arbite has its own mainframe, I think they need a separate core to control the facility. So, like, yes, like, I think she's in charge, but she wouldn't be, like, directly controlling the facility. They would need a local core. Not close to release, but close to the beta phase. That makes perfect sense. And that's sort of how we thought about the different phases for EZ2 as well. When is Entropy 03 coming? So if you look at either the news page for EZ2 or the ModDB page, you can find information about Axon Pariah and Progenitors, which are our 2 next upcoming projects that are, we consider them like episodes for EZ2. So definitely read up on like the latest updates on those, because there's a lot of good information there. I think I lost the plot here a little bit. Where was I? I was putting in this staircase because I want to make sure that the goal of this area is solid before I start filling out the block out. What exclusive Mountain Dew flavor is your favorite? What a question, Coded. Like, how do you come up with that? I used to love Mountain Dew Game Fuel. I don't remember the last time they had Mountain Dew Game Fuel, but that was like my jam. I don't know. I don't know if I would still like it as much as I did when I was like in middle school and high school, but because I think I liked more sugary things a lot more back then. Not even fan projects are safe from the curse. Yeah, basically. I remember GLaDOS got comms with Arbite. Should be referring to Arbite 1 with even I don't know what's happening outside because of the timey-wimey stuff. I think she was referring more directly to the events of Half-Life, because I know what you're talking about. And that hasn't really, my understanding of what she meant by that hasn't really changed much with the fan lore. But I see what you're saying. This is fine. I need to stop focusing on this section and finish my block out. So what do we want? We need to have some side rooms over here. There's going to be an elevator at the end of this hallway, but you can't use it. Considering Easy's place should be more confused. Yeah, I agree with that, for sure. Hello, PZ2701. Sorry, I tend to just call people by whatever username they show up as in chat. I know that you go by something different on Discord and on Reddit, but welcome back. Coded says, I can't believe it's not... Ooh, chat. I can't believe it's not the exclusive limited trolley cherry lime Zep splash. What even is that? There's a There was a trolley Mountain Dew collab. I've never heard of that. Do you get burnt out of mapping? Oh, absolutely. How often? Every time I do a mapping project. I'm wondering, because I get these cycles of 3D modeling, I get burnt out. Do programming, I burnt out. That's a good pattern to have, I think. I mean, burnout is not good. Don't get me wrong, but I think diversifying and learning different skills is a really healthy way to approach burnout, where you're actually gaining a lot by switching to a different area and learning something new, and then you can carry those skills forward and try something different. But yeah, I get burnout a lot. I think mapping on stream has actually been the most difficult thing, because I feel like I slow down a lot, and then I get kind of anxious because I'm not I'm not a great mapper to begin with, and then when people are watching, it's like, wow, it makes me really nervous, because I'm like, I've been yapping for 45 minutes and we've barely even got the beginning of the block out done, you know. So I get really burnt out of that, especially. And I think what you said about like trying different areas is a great way to sort of get the spark back, or trying different projects as well. Like, that's why so many projects get abandoned, and also why it's good to keep your scope as small as you can when you're starting on something. Like, try to make a really small map, because then when you do get burnt out, you're more likely to be able to release something and then come back to it later and learn from it. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on the matter. Burnout 3 was like my top 5 PS2 games. That's good coded. Entropy Zero Alex VR. Yeah, Entropy Zero VR is still coming along. I went with the name Reddit gave me when I created the account. Oh, I wouldn't have guessed. Papa Zulu, that's what PZ stands for. When Entropy Zero Beta? You know, the Entropy Zero Beta is actually, like, available, right? Like, you can download it. You can opt into it right now. I think I should put in some walls, because these are going to be side rooms with different methods of accessing them. This is going to be the elevator. I think we're good with our little block out here for now. So the first thing I'm going to do for walls, before we start looking at textures and such, is I'm going to use the developer blue texture. This one. I actually think I want to make a 3D skybox for this area. Something I've been thinking about is I wanted to make the space feel more expansive, and originally I was going to do that with the big pit and the big ramp that you go through. But actually, I think what I'm going to do is make a 3D skybox of like a large cavernous interior with like some industrial machinery and stuff. So that way, if you look out over the abyss below you, you'll be able to see a lot of visual details, but they will be very big and very far away. It's not going to be like close to you. I do need to make more space to put in a fence to keep the player from walking through that, but that'll be part of putting the walls in, I think. I relate to a lot of what you said, and I was thinking of how hard it was to manage streaming and mapping as well, and honestly, I think you're doing a good job. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks. I'm trying. It's hard for me to, like, I worry that this won't be very interesting to watch, and it makes me really happy that you guys do want to watch it. You know? How should I handle adding a little extra space? I should have probably moved all this stuff inwards a little bit more. Maybe... Okay, I have an idea. I'm gonna grab all these brushes. And this brush, and this brush, and this brush. just want to move all of this stuff away from the wall a little bit. Maybe I should just expand it out, actually. Okay, I was trying to avoid that, but if I just add, like, the easiest way to do it would be just add another 8 units on every side. Or 16. This will all make sense soon. Okay. I gotta close this gap. So while we're over here, I know I should finish putting the walls in, but I think I'm just gonna add some fences that we'll use to block the player from getting out of this area. I'm still waiting for my Hot Pocket station. There wasn't one next to the hand. Coded, what's a Hot Pocket station? Do I want to ask? It's a microwave. Okay. Why didn't you just call it a microwave? Is this the right model to use? I'm not sure which fence I should use for this. One with like probably a wider panel. Let me double check the dimensions that I need here. This is gonna be wait a minute. We probably want 300 and 384. Okay. I don't know if they have any 384 unit fences. We could do 328 fences. This one isn't quite on the grid either. After the last stream, I decided to implement the grenade kick more manually myself instead of relying 100% on the AI. I'm really glad to hear that. We're probably in a way no programmer would recommend. Why is that? I think I would recommend it as long as you're learning, although I could regret saying that. I don't know what you're trying to do yet. I wrote the logic using JavaScript syntax, and then you... Oh, come on. Like, okay, I understand, and that is actually not a bad way to approach it. It's like you should write the logic in a way that you understand, like pseudocode, or like if you're familiar with JavaScript, using JavaScript, and then updating the syntax to match the target language. I think that makes sense. I do think you could translate it yourself if you're far enough along to be able to write it in JavaScript. I really do think you have what it takes, especially because in this case, like JavaScript and C++, the syntax is like almost identical, and it's really going to be like the idiosyncratic things that are different. You know, like stuff that's specific to JavaScript that you might do, like the way JavaScript is, it's not statically typed, so you have like loose types, and obviously C++ is, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but C++ is very much static types language. So yeah, there's things that you'd have to change, but they're going to be very similar in how they look, to the point where I think that would be a pretty feasible way to go about it. But yeah, I do think that that's a pretty good approach, because with every step that you're taking, you're learning more about C++, about like the way Source Engine works, and every time you learn something, you know, that will make it easier for you to do the next thing. That's how we develop these skills. I did look at the code that you posted. I don't really want to use any of it because I know that it is like partially written by Gemini, but I was kind of impressed by the approach that it took, because it made sense, and it was kind of just the way that I would have implemented it. Like, you added a new schedule. Well, it added a new schedule for throwing grenades back. It added the condition. I think it was like a new condition for it. I don't remember. And it checked the condition in the right place, where it's like, I think it's the part where it checks conditions for if it hears a grenade. It adds the condition for, can I throw this grenade? It's all very, like, pretty logical and straightforward. I also noticed that Gemini replaced Squad Slot 2 with Squad Slot 16, which doesn't exist through the whole file. And I don't know why it did that. And I think that's like the heart of why I can't really work with AI generated code, is because I need to be able to ask you, hey, why did you replace Squad Slot 2 with Squad Slot 16? What were you thinking? What's your thought process? And the AI doesn't have a thought process, right? So if you're just sort of blindly using generative tools, I can't work with that, because I can't ask you why you did something, because it seems like it was just a random fluke. The AI hallucinated, you know? That was me. I wanted to increase the slots to make more combines shoot. Okay, so I misinterpreted that. I thought it was like a random change, but that's not really how, because the squad slots are enumerated, so there is no squad slot 16. In fact, I think you would find that code shouldn't compile unless you added a definition somewhere. But there's no such thing as squad slot 16, and just like changing the name from a 2 to a 16 isn't going to increase the number of squad slots that you have. But I understand why you're interested in that, because to some people it seems like the 2 squad slots for shooting are like kind of restrictive, but I don't think so. I actually think it's a really good idea that they have limited firing for the NPCs. On squadslot.h and squadslot.cpp you can add more, but you didn't modify those files. You only changed the Combine file and the Combine header, so that won't compile. I think this isn't good. There's lots of clipping going on here, but it's like, I think it's close enough. What do you guys think? Is that close enough, or is that too much clipping? Maybe what I can do is just pull this back a little bit. Because I only shared the files for the Combine. Yeah, but like, how is anybody supposed to use your changes if they only see some of the changes, you know? Like, it's not gonna compile that way. Actually, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So there will be, behind this fence, there's going to be some sort of a vista. I think think I'm going to extend this upwards to the next floor so that the player can't jump off the edge there. Does that look alright? I think it actually looks better when they clip into each other a little bit, so it looks like they're like connected. Yeah, that works. Hope you guys managed to create your own version better. I am tempted by it because I really liked your idea. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, like that's really cool. How come nobody else has done? Now, someone pointed out in my last stream, I think there are mods that have done it before, but in my recollection, at least, I couldn't remember any cases where anybody has ever done that. So it just seemed like such a good idea. This overhangs a little bit. I'll just move that back a little bit. No big deal. I think the idea of making this like two separate like background and foreground elements is going to help me a lot to make it look interesting. I think I struggle a little bit because it's like I don't know where to separate things, like how to. If I hadn't made that separation, I'd probably just make this a wall, and then it's like I don't want it to just be a blank wall, so it's like, okay, we can add some greebles or something, but it just still doesn't look interesting. But I think with like a vista behind it, that'll make it look a lot cooler. It'll also add more contrast. I think that's going to be a good way for us to go. Bothers me that this is just a little bit more than 512 units. Oh well, I can't put everything on in measures of 64. Yeah, I would like to see that gameplay. I'll definitely check that out. In Venture Ghost chapter, I abandoned the APC and drive Rebel Buggy instead. I have a couple of questions about that, because one thing is you can't take Wilson that way, which is lame. I wish we would have done something about that. We didn't really have time to go back and come up with a solution for it, but also, I was going to say, do you ever have any bugs with the Rebel Buggy? Because I didn't really think about what happens to it when it goes through a level transition trigger. Like, there's a lot of entities attached to it, and I'm not sure if they all go through the level transition or not. So I'm curious if you have any crashes or anything like that when you try that. What do you guys think about the mod that made Wilson an inventory item? I haven't been able to fully test it all the way through. I was very interested in it because at first my thought was that like completely breaks the Wilson run, like because the whole thing is designed around you're carrying a physics object. So it seems like too cheap to make it into an inventory item. But actually, from the gameplay I've seen and from what little I did test with it, it seems really smart. I think it makes the game a little bit smoother. Now that Wilson is such an important part of the story, I feel like I'm more okay with it. Like it kind of makes sense to be able to do that, even if it removes the challenge from the game. But it does kind of break some of the test chambers, though. That's the only thing where it like breaks the game. It makes them basically trivial because you can just carry Wilson through vents with you. I don't know. I think it's cool. I wouldn't consider it for adding to the main game because I think it takes the challenge away from the Wilson run too much. But I do appreciate it. I think it's very creative. Also, I think we might have to reference it a little bit if we're ever working on like a VR Entropy Zero 2, because I haven't really figured out how we were going to handle Wilson for that yet, because Easy 2 VR would be like the distant future, you know, it's not even on the drawing board yet. Perfect fit. Wilson is easy mode, Noam Chomsky. Yeah. It works fine, actually. You mean using the Rebel buggy? So, like, even if you go through a level transition trigger, can you still, like, use the weapons on the buggy and everything? This track is so Fear. Yeah, it does kind of remind me of Fear. Fear is a good game. This track also kind of reminds me of Fear, actually, now that you mention it. That works for me. You mean having a pit drone as a weapon that acts like the penetrator gun from Fear? Because that's really clever. Yeah, it's similar to how the shock roach. No, sorry, I'm getting confused. The spore launcher in Opposing Force is a baby shock trooper. That looks kind of unnatural. But I don't really want to have an open ceiling either. Maybe we can put some trusses in there. Get a little bit. Looks like something's holding it up. You guys tell I'm not like an architect. I am not a civil engineer. That's why Freeman won't use snarks in Half-Life 2 because he doesn't believe in subjugating them. You could go somewhere with that if the pet snark from Half-Life Alyx like had a bigger role in the story. Honestly. Yeah, I don't know if I want to think about the spore launcher and Opposing Force being a child. I guess I kind of figure Race X are different, like they're more insectoids, so they don't. I don't know. That's you raise a good point, actually. Hi, Rukia Cloud, welcome. I want Valve to give a lore reason to why the snarks explode. Does it need a lore reason? I mean, I figure that's probably like a defense mechanism, right? Like they're filled with explosive gas or something. what's that room? So this area, I'm still doing the block out. Welcome, by the way, XD. I'm doing the block out, but this is going to be like sort of a hub that you'll return to in the add-on. It's a place where the beast, the Gonome, is collecting the blue goo and is trying to build sort of a nest. This door is going to be important later. Yeah, I'm still doing block out. And there's going to be lots of like side rooms for ammunition and supplies that you can get into. So, and right now I'm kind of focusing on this staircase that's going to get you out of the basement area and back up into the Arbite 1 from EZ2 proper. I just realized this doesn't go high enough, like vertically, to get where you need to go, because that's going to clip into the test chamber over here. The geometry already overlaps with itself so much. Are you still working in DevOps? Yep, that's my job. What do I want to do next? I guess we continue building out the walls. I think probably we need a solid wall here. This is also where I can clip the corners to make it that octagon shape that I wanted. I'll start with dev textures this time, because I really want to kind of look at the block out first before I decide the textures for this area. For the rest of the add-on, I've been trying to do texture as I go. Hello, Bogey on YouTube. Welcome. Sorry if I misread that. I just realized there could be a problem here. I wonder if Gonomes are big enough to place eggs. Well, the Gonarch in Half-Life actually gives live birth to head crabs, or it has like the egg sac, I suppose. It's confusing talking about like Zen aliens and their life cycles because they don't fit into any category of terrestrial creatures. So like, I don't know, do bull squids lay eggs? That was a question we had to ask when we were working on EZ2. We decided that they do, but someone else might say that they don't. Oh, wait. You're the developer of Disbelief? I didn't realize that. I am going to stream that at some point in the future. How I want to approach this. Okay, the simplest way to handle it is just make these solid walls, so you can only see out in the exterior through this wall. Kind of lame, but then I don't need to think about things like what happens if you look through here and you look back into the room. Then I either need to expand out the skybox to here, or like, yeah, it could get confusing. This will limit your angle that you can view the exterior shot from. Can't wait for you to play Disbelief and Disrepair. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, I'm excited too. I've heard really good things about both of them. Disrepair was the first one, right? And that came out a few years ago. I remember people talking about it, but I'm not sure why I've never played it. Guys, you know what I think would have helped me with this area? Something I thought about a lot, but I never didn't make any progress on. I wish I would have had visual references for what I wanted it to look like. I think that would have really helped. I didn't collect any references. I was thinking like Aliens, the movie, would be a great place to like just get screen grabs of the movie and try to make it look like the reactor, because that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for with this. I might be misremembering, but I think the EZ2 Voltigore also spawns stuff, pit drones, right? But it's more like summoning them. Yes, that's absolutely right. It uses the displacer cannon from opposing force, and it's able to call in pit drones from some other dimension. But I never finished the Voltigore. We didn't really have a place for it in the game. The map that it would have taken, would have been introduced in, got entirely replaced with the Zentarium. And I don't think there was any room for it there either. These two Voltigores are so scary. I think I should cut these down to the height of this platform. I released Disrepair back in 2023. It was our first mod that we released. Oh, are you making it with the team? The Voltessence. It's funny. You completed the code for the attack. Yes, yes I did. But it's not, like, when I say it's not complete, like, it's not tested, so I can't guarantee whether or not it works. I know I was working on it, and I think it was in like a somewhat far along kind of state, but I don't know exactly how I left it. That ceiling looks hideous. We'll do something about that, don't worry. Scar Zero is actually switching minion weapon tutorial. That's absolutely right. Yeah, we were trying to show how to swap weapons among your squad members, although that mechanic really didn't turn out. I consider that feature in that tutorial to be a failure, because we didn't. Nobody really understood what it was supposed to be about. Three people for both mods. That's a good, like, small team. Like, 3 people is not a lot of people to work on a mod. Do you guys all have, like, different areas of specialization, or do you all kind of work on the same things? With the help of some contributors, yeah. give Scarzir the MP5 nearby because the pistol crate gives me full ammo so the weapon stays. That was definitely intentional, by the way. I wanted a way to make sure the player would be able to give weapons with that ammo type, so I added that crate in there. Giving a combine shotgun or another weapon feels wrong. I think it looks cool to see like the different armor variants holding different weapons, but you're right, it's like they're kind of, that's their specialization, that's why they wear red, so like why would they use a different weapon? But you know, in the original release of Half-Life 2, all the Combine soldiers were kind of the same. They all wore the same uniform, so I think it makes sense that they'd all be kind of trained to use every weapon. It's just the red ones are assigned shotguns as a, like their equipment. Personally like an add-on that disables Combine Soldier regeneration, so you're forced to feed them batteries and kits. Do you know, did we implement that? I actually don't remember if you can give them batteries and health kits or not. I forgot. Yeah, I think it makes sense that they changed the uniform of the shotgunners because it's something that they probably found in playtesting. Playtesters wouldn't know whether a soldier was a shotgunner or not, and that's important information in close quarters combat. Hello, Octo Blue Fever. I gave Combine Shotgunners a crossbow in my first playthrough. Yeah, it's really fun to reassign their weapons. That was something I really enjoy in Halo, in the Halo series. So I'm glad we could implement that, although I do think that the way we did it in Easy 2 is kind of janky. It's like, because you can only give weapons if you already have maxed out ammo for that weapon. So it doesn't feel natural. Yeah, they can shoot the crossbow. They totally can. It's just that by the time you backtrack to get a battery, they already have full health. Yeah. I'm really happy with the regeneration because I think they're too, like, they're not really able to fend for themselves without it. You know, like, they need to be able to hold their own in combat, and if they're on low health, then you just lose them as soon as the fight starts. It's not very fun for the player. So I'm happy with that mechanic, but I also see the value in like having to triage like your supplies out to your squad mates. I think it would make more sense in a game about a different character. If you're like the hero in the story and you have to like manage your party's resources and figure out who gets what. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I just don't think it sounds like Easy 2 to me. Disrepair, me and MPY worked together on one map while our sound designer worked on the music and sounds. For Disbelief, MP helped out a bit with the scripting, but I had to do most of it. What kind of scripting, by the way? Is that like did you guys use MapBase? Are you doing a lot of VScript Squirrel stuff? I find that very interesting. I actually have a VScript I'm going to use for this add-on that I originally wrote for a different project that is now not going to be completed. But I'm going to reuse some of my old scripts because I think I have some content that could be very useful. I won't say much though because it's better to get in blind. I respect that a lot. I'm eager for a blind playthrough because I know Disrepair and Disbelief are different from typical mods. I know that much. Like I've seen, they're like black and white, right? With more of a narrative focus, and I'm really excited to play that. I don't want to know any more about it than that because I want to go in blind. Speaking of which, I'm hoping to do that stream this week Thursday. I need to check my my calendar before I can commit to that, but I would love to stream those this week. I know this is looking pretty ugly so far, guys, but I'm just doing the rough block out, and then we'll add a lot of detail later. One thing I kind of want to do with the Scar Zero add-on is in the sections where the Gonome is around, treat it a little bit like Amnesia the Bunker, where it's like you can get weapons and supplies, but you can't get enough ammo to kill the Gonome. I think that would be fresh, like it wouldn't feel the same as Entropy Zero 2, and it would be more like something different, something interesting. Oh no, I'm late again. No, you're right on time, Concordia Willows. The nice thing about these mapping streams is that they're very chill, they're very low key. You can't really miss anything because I'm just very slowly making my way through the map. You can check back, you know, every now and then, and hopefully I'll have made some progress. For now, I'm gonna block off this way out here. We'll use a different dev color for that. Green. I gave AR2 Proto to every soldiers and Flechette shotgun to shotgunner. Oh, but you have to spawn those through the console. I tried to play Half-Life 2 campaign with Entropy Zero mechanics. Brute force copying and pasting the campaign. Yeah, you'll have to make more changes like scripting and stuff to get it to work, but I am interested in people playing Half-Life 2 that way. It sounds interesting. Both run on map base. I won't go into it since it would spoil it. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm really eager to see what you guys have made. Have you tried Half-Life 2 Alternus? I have not. I don't play a lot of mods that like recreate the Half-Life 2 campaign because I feel like it starts to get stale, or like I have a hard time playing the same maps repeatedly. But I am interested in Alternus. Hi, Matino's Burritos. I'm doing great today. I'm slowly doing this block out for this map. We're gonna add more detail and such. Happy to be doing another mapping stream. I've been super busy lately. I just got back from a trip this past week, so yeah, just happy to be here. We're chilling. Hi Danskart, welcome. MPY says Buggy yapping about disbelief. Sheesh. I did ask, to be fair. Okay, so this is crude, but let's do like a scaling test to see how does this map look. Just broadly speaking. Maybe before I do that, I'll round off the corners because I really wanted this room to have like an octagonal shape. I know this looks like my first map, but this will become something soon. This is starting to come together as like how I want the room to look. It's a big open area in the middle. The Gonome will be able to come through this area and it'll be really scary. Actually, before I test this out in game, I should add nodes so we can test out if the Gonome works. I'm not going to focus too much on the node graph because we don't have any obstacles yet. There will be like pillars and props and things around, but I'm just going to do like a very crude node graph to test and see that it works. I'm gonna have to add like walls and doors here, but about playing mods, do you have plans to stream mods like Half-Life Extended or Half-Life EZU Up 2? Well, EZU Up 2 is going to be a huge deal. I'll stream it when it comes out, but I also will probably be playtesting it before it comes out. So, but that's, you know, distant future things. I definitely will be streaming that. For Half-Life Extended, that's another one where it's like I don't know. Like I've heard really good things about Extended and I want to play it, but it's like the entirety of Half-Life 1's campaign, you know. It would be hard to stream all of it, but maybe. I don't have plans to, but I'm interested. It's a lot easier for me to stream things like workshop add-ons because they're smaller. Haphazard at this point, like we're just trying to make a path for the Gnome. I would be a lot more meticulous if we had the full block out done. Added any lights yet either. Supply crates, one crate contains supply and the rest contain temporal crabs. You know, I could have temporal crab crates in this level somewhere. It's a good shout. Someone made Half-Life 2 No Canals Workshop add-on. Skip chapter 3 and 4 to Black Mesa East. That sounds a little bit disappointing unless they had like some kind of a method to skip, like Alternus. I haven't added any lights yet, but I want to try this out in the game. Node ground also works placed in the air. Yes, when the node graph generates, it will drop nodes down, I think, a maximum of 128 units. So whenever I'm putting nodes on ramps, I always just float them above the ramp, because I find that the node graph generator does a better job connecting the nodes if it lets them fall beforehand. Yeah, so far, this is crude, but we will see how it looks. Nodes of gravity? Yeah, when they're being generated. Did I even compile the map? Yeah, I did. Okay. So let's go over to our game scene and pause the music for now. So that was just the most basic block out, but I want to see what the shape looks like so far. So to get into that room, we have to go through this door. So I gotta grab that crank, but I'm gonna get attacked by head crabs. Okay, so I've got my crank. We won't be able to see anything in here because I haven't added any lighting, but it's actually kind of spooky with the lighting like that. So here's what the staircase looks like. I'm pretty happy with this little area, actually. Although the guardrails are blocking me from going up the stairs. That's not a good sign. Oh, thank you. Appreciate the healing. So there's a clipping issue there. How about this? The size of the room? I think it's pretty good because there's enough space for us to put something in the middle. These will be our optional side passageways, which I need to add a wall and some doors and things, but it'll be good for now. And I'll put a big elevator over here. And then the vault door is going to go over on the other side. Is this for a workshop map or an EZ mod? So this is going to be a map that I'm making for the EZ2 workshop. Stay hydrated. Yeah, I appreciate it. So this is going to be a little mini campaign where you play as the soldier that you find in Chapter 2 that was being interrogated. We call him Scar Zero. Let's do a quick node graph test here.
Greetings!
Greetings. Oh, it's Meneth. Hi, Meneth. Welcome. Uh-oh. It doesn't like this node because of this handrail that's sticking out. My mistake. Possibly the most lore-heavy and important maps in the history of EC. Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll fix the collisions on this later. Welcome, Meneth. Let's just try that one more time. And then I want to take a little brief intermission to show something, like a little side project I was working on related to this add-on. Forgot to ask, does the kit grenade code, the new one I made, have a chance to be used as a feature? I definitely want to stick to not using anything that was made with AI generated code if we can help it. So I think we're probably going to hold off on that for now. I am interested, but I don't think we'll create our own version until such a time that we need it. You know, if we're working on an episode or something where the characters could use that ability, certainly we'd want it. But I think for now, for me, it's mostly just something that would be cool. It's not something that's like critical to the gameplay of any of the stories that we're trying to tell. YouTube stream is way behind Twitch stream? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The YouTube stream is mostly for me to retain VODs. And certainly if you prefer watching on YouTube, you can watch on YouTube. But Twitch is always going to be a little bit ahead. Look at that node graph. Oops. Oh, okay. It's up here. I'd lose it if the Zen growths are walking around. That's cursed. So now I think that node graph connects a little bit better. And I just want to test that the creature, the Gonome, can follow me down the stairs. This will be important later. Yes, it is able to walk up and down the stairs. Crank was twitching a lot. Yeah, there's something with the rotational speed of the crank that isn't right. I wasn't super concerned. Oh, goodness. I wasn't super concerned about it, but I will definitely look into that.
Oh, fiddlesticks. What?
Oh, fiddlesticks. What now? Okay, so since we're in game now, I'm going to take a brief intermission to show a little idea that I had that I was working on, I wanted to try taking an existing map from Entropy 02. That's Chapter 2, Map 3, the map that I designed. And we're going to play Chapter 2, Map 3, but from the perspective of the Combine Soldier, Scar Zero, rather than the main character, Bad Cop. And I just thought it was fun. Does this mean Plan B is the mother of all crabs in the basement? No, because they were already there before it was there, right? Like, Clone Cop says that he overfed a zombie, whatever that means. So I guess he had a zombie that he was sort of like tricking rebels into being killed by, and then that one became the Gonome. So it's not the mother of all the head crabs in the basement, but it does sort of help create more head crabs. Yeah, this one isn't exactly AI generated, but I need to review the code before we accept it as a feature. And I don't really want to review code if there's no author, right? Like if there's no one who I can ask, why did you write it this way? That's the big problem with AI generated code that I have right now, is it's like if someone submits a pull request to our repo, which means they want to change the code, and I review the code, if there's no one who I can ask, why did you decide to do it this way, then it's putting too much burden on us to sort of, fix the AI generated code. So that's why I try to avoid it. I am interested. I'm glad that you decided to redo it with minimal AI. I think it's going to help you a lot, and it's going to make the code a lot better as well. But I'm not entirely comfortable looking at that right now. That's where you plan to use the Arbite pistol? Yes. And maybe also later on, but I'm not sure about that yet. But yeah, for now, let's look at the map. Oh, ignore that. Now the dialogue doesn't quite work because I think that line still comes from the player, and Scar Zero's lines don't play. I need to redo the scene. But yeah, we are now Scar Zero in Chapter 2. So these soldiers aren't going to follow us because we're not Bad Cop. They're going to follow Bad Cop. I was thinking of maybe having that tooltip say something like long-range radio disabled or something, because Scar Zero doesn't have his ability to contact Overwatch.
Jump team! Stop the Combine from getting into the lab!
Hit him. The NPCs aren't quite as good as the player at, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Where's he going? Okay, this worked the last time I tested it. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so I can grab this shotgun.
Control room! Jump team! Stop the Combine from getting into the lab!
Get him, get him. No, he's gonna run away. Come on, yeah, shoot him from there. Okay. Taking out that sniper was the hardest thing for the NPCs to do. Really. I almost got it. There we go. So he got the sniper. Now we can play as normal. I think my chat might have frozen because I see chat going on Twitch, but I don't see it updating the OBS. Not a good sign. So he just said final team unit, but Bad Cop is still alive. Let's see. Yeah, my chat window actually is really like completely frozen there. That's not good. This is exactly what I dreamed when I imagined Scar Zero. That's good. That's so cool. Is this the Easy 2 campaign, but you play as Scar Zero? Yeah, exactly. At least for this map. I'd add a red glow for Bad Cop to mark him as a squad leader and gray glow to the rest of your squad. I'd like to use the glow representing their health thing, but I'm not quite sure how I want to manage that with you not being in control of the squad. Like, can I activate squad control but disable the player's ability to issue orders? Perhaps. You know, that's something I need to work out. Or basically treat that NPC Bad Cop as the player. That might require code changes, and I want to avoid changing the code for a workshop add-on because that feels unfair. But can you do bad ending kill Bad Cop? I haven't implemented a game over state for killing Bad Cop yet, but hypothetically, yes. The fight is too intense, it broke chat. Yeah, I don't know what to do about my my OBS chat because it's dead. If anybody's talking to me on YouTube, I like can't read what they're saying right now. Yeah, as far as the throwing grenades back thing goes, I think you're progressing in the right direction by writing it yourself and then translating it, because I think you're only a few steps away from just writing the code yourself. And I think, you know, I said I want to avoid using AI generated content, but I think if you get to a point where you can own the code to the extent where you can like describe every single thing about it. Like if somebody asks, why did you choose to write this line this way? You know, why did you choose to use this function to implement this logic? Or like, why did you choose, like, you know, how did you architect how the grenade throwing back feature works? Like, why is it a schedule? Did you add a new condition? All that stuff. Once you can answer all those questions, then it won't really make a difference that it was originally AI generated, because it's sort of Ship of Theseus. You've replaced every part of it to the point where it's no longer slop, in my opinion. So I think once you get to that point of you don't use the AI for anything and you can kind of like own your code, and then I think I'd be more interested in looking at it again, if that makes sense. I should also check YouTube chat. Oh, there's my gun. So the of course, the view model right now is using the USP view model, but that is actually the Arbite pistol. We just don't have a view model for it yet. Let me look over at YouTube chat. So I'm gonna have to look at the chats separately. Where is the Manhack soldier? That's a good question. I haven't added him yet. And does the Arbite pistol do more damage than the USP? Good question. I don't know, actually. They both fire the same ammo, so I think they use the same damage, but we might have overridden the damage value just for that gun. Radio Guy uses the Arbite pistol in Cold Signal. You're right. You're correct. So we have a view model for the pistol in Cold Signal, but we just don't have it rigged to the Combine Soldier arms, so that's why I can't use it. I could use it with Radio Guy's arms, but I thought that would be confusing, so I used the USP instead. I have some old footage of the Arbite pistol view model. Mind if I send it to you from Twitch? I think Twitch is going to nuke the link, but if you can try it. Like, send it, and if Twitch censors it, then just post it in the Discord, and I can pull it up. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep.
Jump team.
Wait, that was a new message on OBS. Did it fix itself? Guys, I'm so confused. Oh, you meant Discord? Yeah. Send it on Discord. The only problem with sending links in Twitch is that you know, to prevent bots, we kind of like. Oh, I'm dead. But to prevent bots, we block links. The one like design challenge I had with this is the sniper. usually the player as bad cop shoots the sniper, but getting the NPCs to kill the sniper is very, very difficult. So I actually gave the NPC bad cop a rocket launcher to deal with the sniper. I would argue that you can technically get a rocket launcher in this map. There's an Easter egg that lets you get the rocket launcher. So that could be canon. Just throwing that out there. I'm not super worried about making every single thing line up between the two versions of this. It's more like, as long as it's plausible that this is a version of events that could have happened, you know? If the player could have made it look like this, then it's close enough. This is never going to line up one-to-one, because the player can do whatever they want to do, you know? Move out of the way. Radio guy forgot to take the pistol with him. Yeah, he did. Canonically. I gotta switch back to Twitch. Because some messages are going through and some aren't. It's kind of annoying. I think we're good. Let me check Discord a second. Okay. I'm just gonna play this for a little bit. There's something about this I just find really entertaining. I don't know if it's just me, but seeing like this fight from a different perspective is fun. It's a different kind of fun than what I'm approaching for most of this add-on, right? Like most of it is gonna be a puzzle game, but this part is just sort of like a weird, like, alternate perspective thing. I think I got him too. Man. It's too late.
We're in the control room. Jump teams, stop the combine from getting into the lab.
Man, he almost got the sniper. Come on, you can do it. Oh, that's problematic. Move out of the way. Move out of the way. No, he's stuck. He's never gonna get the sniper. It's really hard to get NPCs to do the things that the player does. That's the challenge with something like this. If you show Bad Cop driving an APC as Scar Zero POV, that would be interesting. It wouldn't really line up with what we see in Easy 2 though, would it? Because there's never any moments where Scar Zero sees Bad Cop driving an APC. It's a shame we probably won't see the jump team ever again in the expansions. That is true. I don't think they'll be coming back anytime soon, but they will be in this add-on. How about making 3650 kill the sniper as a scripted sequence? Like, you mean having him a scripted sequence to move into the right spot to shoot the rocket launcher? Because that's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah. You'd have to make sure that it has unobstructed line of sight, though. And you wouldn't be able to use a scripted sequence to have him actually fire. That's the danger. You'd have to like use that to move and then fire the rocket some other way. I feel like this was working better a little bit before stream. Of course, when I'm streaming it, it seems buggier. I want to play through the whole level, but at first we just gotta get past that sniper section. No, stand there. Stand there. Oh, he's not gonna stand there. Maybe he'll get it this time. You could just have an APC NPC model that has Bad Cop in it. You could. The actual driving animations are difficult. Yeah. I wish I knew more about animation. It's such a big thing to learn, you know? Like there's a lot to it, but it's really powerful when you learn how to make custom animations. So the problem with just scripting it is making sure that Bad Cop actually fires and actually hits the sniper. You know what I mean? Because you could have a scripted sequence of him moving into a firing position and then maybe he just misses, or the rocket gets stuck on something, or he doesn't target the sniper. It's very difficult to control that kind of thing.
You're in the control room. Jump teams, stop the combine from getting into the lab.
He's got this. I might be able to take that guy's grenade. I missed. How much HP does Bad Cop have as a non-player? That's a good question. I think it's set to something ridiculously high. I might want to make it a little bit more realistic for this section, but I also don't want the player to have to, like, you know, lose a lot because he keeps dying or something like that.
Sector 3, outbreak.
999 HP. Yeah, I remember seeing it as like 800, but I don't think it currently is 800. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. Why don't we just check right now, actually? Developer 1 and text NPC Bad Cop. Yeah, so he has 2,300 HP. It's more than I was expecting. Okay. So we got another grenade. Maybe we can... Nope. Yeah, as long as you don't have to babysit the Bad Cop NPC, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. They almost got it. I feel like with this pistol, for some reason, it doesn't always shoot where I'm aiming. I don't know why that is. That might be a bug with the weapons derived from Counter-Strike weapons. Not entirely sure. Are you forced to be in this one area? No, absolutely not. You can go anywhere you want. Mostly I'm just pinned down by the sniper, though. Do you have plans to limit Scar Zero's weapons to 2? Absolutely not. We're gonna let him pick up any weapons that he finds, which I know is a little bit different than the single player, but I think it's kind of plausible because Bad Cop can give him different weapons. So like he can pick up this shotgun, for example, which Bad Cop could have given him. I think I'm gonna let's just cheese it so we can keep going. Still working out some bugs, but yeah, hopefully, like, shoot it. Okay, he has the spirit at least. He did try. It's so weird seeing Bad Cop with different weapons. Yeah, that's what the player looks like.
Stop the combine from getting into the lab.
So we're just gonna, well, let's give him a shot. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. Okay, so that's how it should work. It takes out the sniper. You can hear he used a dialogue line there. I want to kind of advance ahead, I think. I kind of wish we had some kind of convar to avoid picking up items, weapons, so you could just toggle it whenever you'd rather give something to a squad mate and pick it up. Or drop your weapon and give it. Being able to drop any weapon and give it would help a lot. That would make it more like Halo. But the problem is that Half-Life games aren't really designed around that. Like, if you drop all your weapons, then you can't progress. You'd be soft-locked. So that won't really work. But like, hypothetically, I think that would be a better approach. Oh, I died. Sorry, I'm yapping and gaming at the same time. There we go. Hello, you know, I just realized I don't know how to pronounce your name. Like, I've been reading your name for years now, and I don't know how to say it out loud because I've only ever read it and typed it. But, Suxar1X? How am I supposed to pronounce that out loud? It's good to see you, by the way. How many maps or mods are you working on? Do you mean different projects? Because I think I can answer that. The pistol impact from sound and recoil looks so good. Is that for the Arbite pistol? Thank you. Is it possible to spawn a rocket as an entity? You could. You could also do that with a grenade, but I think it would be hard to guarantee that it hits. Scar Zero uses the CSS UPS weapon. Yeah, it uses a weapon Arbite pistol, which we made for Radio Guy, which I think is derived from the Counter-Strike source. What's that gun called? It's the SIG pistol. It's like the P200, P220 or something. Yeah, P220. Suxar or Novar? Yeah, welcome. I hope things are going well with your projects as well. The Arbite shotgun is the Nova. Yep, that's absolutely right. It's from CSGO, actually. It's based on, like, originally it was going to be the M3 shotgun from Counter-Strike Source, but then we used the view model from CSGO instead. Excuse me, bad cop. So there's the question of how many different mods am I working on. Currently, that explains why there's the M3 Super Shotgun in the files. Use the wrong model on the P220. I mean, if you mean that it's a USP, then yeah, obviously. But that's because we don't have the P220 rigged to the Combine Soldier arms yet. Surrender. Gotta go battery low? Oh, thanks for stopping in. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Hope you can get your battery charged. Someone asked how many projects I'm working on. And, right now, my main project is Entropy Zero VR / Entropy Zero version 5. I kind of conflate the two as being one project. Although it does have both a VR and a non-VR mode. It's not just VR. That's my main priority. But I'm also working on this, obviously, because that's part of my streams. And then I'm in the back burner still thinking about Axon Pariah and Progenitors. I haven't really done a lot of work for Progenitors. That's been pretty much all Blix so far. Blix and Takarish. But doing a lot of testing and, like, you know, helping inform some of the creative decisions with that. Also, we'll be testing for Uprising at some point. Scar Zero have a different HUD color? No, the HUD color is fixed, unfortunately. We don't have a good way to change the HUD color for specific maps. Yeah, you're exactly right, XD. That would be a great feature, because I think a lot of add-ons could benefit from that. But it's tricky because the Source engine just isn't set up for that, like swapping it on the fly. At least the way it's set up in Half-Life 2 in the Source SDK 2013. I think we got all of them. So I don't have this fully scripted out yet, but I want to have basically Bad Cop will lead you into the airlock and then all the soldiers will follow him. Right now he does try to lead you. Like if I go back, he'll come find me. Coming in map base 19, yeah. Can you imagine map base getting up that high? Oh. Oh no. Yeah, so he's gonna come back to where I am, and then he's gonna lead me. I need to add a response so that he says like, come on, or something like that. He leads me over here, and then we're in the next map. And I haven't done the next map yet, but I want to do both of these maps and have that be basically the intro to the Scar Zero add-on, where you see everything that happened to him up until the point where the proper story starts. I'm even thinking about it would be kind of cool to have like a prequel section where you attack Arbite 1 with Clone Cop originally with his squad, and I could reuse some maps that Breadman made because Breadman was working on a his own little like custom bonus map where you play as Clone Cop and go to Arbite 1. So maybe I could resurrect that a little bit. But yeah, that's the idea. This is just a little side tangent to the Scar Zero project. And you fistfight a rebel to death. Yeah, I don't know how I'll handle that scene actually, because that would be interesting to know like exactly what happened. Now it's time to kill Bad Cop. It's easier said than done, but oh, I guess headshot damage does a lot of damage. Wow. Okay. There we go. The good ending. Gmod fist view model. That's cursed. We actually probably could do that. I don't know if I want to do that, but that would be kind of interesting. To have like a completely unarmed section where you have your fists and the kick at the same time. Conceptually, it's interesting. Every Combine soldier you kill gives you a new scar. Right now you're Scar 2. No. No. Stop. NPC Bad Cop and NPC Clone Cop always die to player headshots. I wonder why that is, because I don't think we intentionally programmed that in. Like, is that something from the Combine soldiers? Bad Cop never meets Wilson. Yeah, that's sad. This does feel kind of cursed. I don't know. There's something really uncanny about Bad Cop is dead in the Chapter 2 airlock. Okay, I should probably get back to working on the map. I think I do want to call the stream a little bit early today. I think the streams start to get a little long. This one has been going on for 2.5 hours. I think I want to cap it at 3 hours, and then we'll wrap up stream. But I want to get back to my block out. I know I haven't made a lot of progress. I have to start accepting that map progress is really, really slow. But I am happy that we have that block out because I think it's good. It's something I can go forward with. Which is good. Before, like, I wasn't really happy with the block out that I made. Let's see. Before I continue, I want to see, will I have someone to raid once I do finish stream? Yeah, I think I will. We'll see if they're still streaming. Willing to wait up to April 6th of 2047 for a Scar Zero map demo. Yeah, we'll see. what do I even want to do next? I think we're too early for lighting. Because I haven't even finished like detailing anything other than this stairway. Should pick textures. I should fill out these walls first. Scar 0 2077. Okay. And I want some doors. Gotta go now. Fun stream. Bye. Yeah, have a good one, Boom Donuts. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more mapping streams in the future as well. Thanks for the healing. Who named them Scar Zero? I did. We were calling that soldier the Lone Wolf at first, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he did have a squad. He just lost them. But then I looked at the different Combine Soldier codes and names, and I thought Scar was good because he's injured, and Zero because entropy 0, and I just threw that into the dialogue line. For a while, they didn't have a name. We just called him the Lone Wolf. I would have gone with Wolf Zero. I don't think the Combine really use animal names as their code names, actually. Wait. Sentences.txt. Somebody's about to correct me and say, well, actually. Yeah, soldier names are Leader, Flash, Ranger, Hunter, Blade, Scar, Hammer, Sweeper, Swift, Fist, Sword, Savage, Tracker, Slash, Razor, Stab? That's why would your name be Stab? Spear, Striker, and Dagger. According to sentences.txt. So out of that list, Scar seemed the most appropriate. That's really about it. I mean, I could have also picked a different code that's outside of the normal like call signs. But Scar Zero worked. Scar Zero moment. Yeah, so I have Scar Zero says that he's at code quicksand, and I wasn't when I came up with that, I saw quicksand was a code word, and I thought that could refer to like you know, a situation where you're like stuck somewhere, basically. That was my thought process. But I see that I kind of made a mistake. It looks like quicksand is actually supposed to be the letter Q, and they say quicksand because it's easy to hear over the radio. Like that's part of their phonetic alphabet. So I don't know what that means, actually. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Quicksand refers to when a soldier steps on quicksand. That's how I was thinking about it, but that's not accurate. Like in the even in the sentences.txt file, it actually lists that that's a phonetic alphabet code. So that's supposed to be, I think, Q. Could you take a look at my video on Discord? Sure, I can do that. But first, I'm gonna look at XDXD's video because he sent me that, and that's relevant to this add-on that we're working on. Okay, I can't just. How do I? I can't just use embeds. How do I want to do this? Also, I don't actually see your video on Discord. Is that in the Entropy Zero Discord? Maybe you could download it. Yeah, I'll try that. Entropy zero mapping and modding. Yeah, you'll have to post like a link or something because I don't actually see. It's not like it's not the most recent message. Okay, I'm back. So this is the video that XD sent me about the view model. Where is this firing range from, by the way? I don't recognize it. That looks good. 1 year old, wow. I would like to add that view model into the game just so that if the player does manage to pick up that gun, or if add-ons use it, that you can see what it looks like in your hands. Yeah. Looks like the crosshair is turned off for the video, which probably makes sense for recording, but I do wonder if there's an issue with that crosshair. Training range from the EZ2 workshop. I don't know if I've tried that one. So I think, I'm trying to think how I want to set up these doors. Here's what I want to do. Something like this. Looks like it's from Call of Duty. Yeah, it does kind of give that impression. Kind of a tight fit for that door, but that's okay. You know, no, it's not okay. I'm gonna make the walls thicker so the door fits in there. So this one, glass door C. Yeah, the blast door. You know the mod that re-enables the USB and crowbar for Bad Cops Arsenal? I planned on it for being an extension of that featuring the Arbite pistol and shotgun. That would be fun. I think that would be cool for a mod to give the player more options for different weapons. Because EZ2 is kind of locked down to the pulse pistol because it's like a utility weapon that you need. We were kind of conflicted. Like for a while I was wondering if we should like make it so that you can choose to use the the USP instead of the pulse pistol, but we ended up not going that direction. So one thing I want to do here, I'm not going to fully implement this logic right now, but just to kind of placeholder it in, I want to have this door like slightly ajar and maybe like off kilter just a little bit, where it's like, oh, that doesn't really work. That doesn't really work either. Yeah, it's like maybe slightly open. Maybe they're like the doors are pushed inwards a little bit. They're supposed to slide on a track, but these ones are like jammed open, so it's like the angle is too sharp, like that. The door is jammed open. It's not how it's supposed to look. And then you can use explosives to try to clear it. Oh, 19T, welcome. So it's like, this isn't big enough for you to fit in there, but maybe if you use an explosive, you can blast the doors in. These are called blast doors, so it is kind of stupid that I'm thinking you can blow them up. Whatever. Maybe I'll come up with a different way that you use slams to get in here. But yeah, that's my thought process is, you'll see this slam icon and you'll see, hey, wait a minute, I can get in here with a slam, but you don't have any slams. So this is how I want to implement basically like a Metroidvania kind of approach. So you know, it's like, oh, if I had slams, I could get into this room. Maybe there's like a bunch of goodies in the room, but you don't have any slams, so you got to go up here, get the slams, and come back. Or you can just ignore it. That's not even your main objective. But, you know, if you want to go look for slams, you can do that. That can be like a side objective. I guess that'll just be a bunch of generic resupplies. And I should also have like some kind of a cool item that you want that will motivate you to remember that this is a thing and come back here. Like maybe you get like the shotgun or something from this. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, not going to focus on that any more than that for now, because this is still, we're just blocking it out. What's your opinion on Race X? Will there be any small Easter eggs to them in this campaign? Not in this campaign. I don't think that they would really fit here, because we're focusing on the basement of Arbite 1. We didn't really see any Race X experimentation there in EZ2, so I don't think they'll show up in any meaningful way in this campaign. I would like to see them show up more, and I'd like to see an add-on that focuses on them in the story, which we haven't really done before. I think it could be really cool. Oh, I don't have any music. What am I doing? We're gonna listen to the Combine Base Assault Redux soundtrack. I really want to see the Black Mesa laser thing in the Half-Life mod again. Maybe a huge aperture laser could pry it open. Like the laser in Questionable Ethics in Half-Life. Yeah, the primary laser. I don't know if that's something that will fit in here. That could be a fun like puzzle solution. Or also puzzle solutions that could be fun would be using the energy pellets from Portal. I don't know. I want to have a mix of puzzling, but also like survival horror elements in this. What if you feature a singular pit drone with a Zen grenade duct taped to its back? Why? So these doors I want to have permanently open. So they'll just slide like that. For science. Good answer. I don't know what I was thinking. This is going to be another supply cache, but you need, let's see, that's, what is that emoji? Who is that? This is what I'm looking for. I just realized you could probably stack stuff to get over this, but maybe I should just let you. If you wanna, that's how you wanna solve the puzzle. I wanna allow people to like solve puzzles in unusual ways. I really want to go for like a light sim kind of thing in a Source Engine game. You know what I mean? Like imagine something that's like Deus Ex, but it's a Half-Life mod. It's probably not what this is going to be, but something kind of approaching that, where you have some puzzles where it's like there's different viable options for how to solve the puzzle. It's not always like pre-scripted how the puzzle is going to be solved. What has similar properties to RaceX portals and EZ2? Oh no, it doesn't quite fit. Ah. How will they know? How will they know? They can also clip this halfway into the wall. Rexora? I didn't see that. Will 3650 and Wilson meet Mitchell Shepard and help him unfuck his face in the sequel? No, no, they won't. I can guarantee that. Oh man. At some point, I'm gonna have to like stream Hunt Down the Freeman. I really don't like it. But like it's the meme has gotten so out of control. It's like I can't stop it anymore. It's gonna be like you can't beat him, join him, you know? I've always really hoped for Rexora elements in another mod. Oh, I haven't played it. I'd be interested. I recently noticed that Rexora has a positronic energy orb that looks a lot like the Race X Zen portal. Oh, that's interesting. So it's like purple? What does it do exactly? So 2018. You're right, though. Is it relevant? Maybe it's not relevant. Maybe we need to let it die. Finally. I feel like that's still clipping into the model there. No, it's not. Okay. Set up as a door, is it? Door. I'm looking for door left. Door. I think this might be what I was actually looking for. The music is back to being too loud. Sorry. I guess this video is just louder because I have the volume set to the same level. How did we set up the door over here? Because this is what I actually want. This door. Oh, it is using that model. Okay. This is literally the exact setup I want. Now, I do recognize, now that I'm looking at it, this padlock isn't connected to anything. Like, why can't you just push this door open? The other thing that started bothering me, I realized recently, I was the one who moved this padlock to this side of the door. How did, like, why, who padlocked this door? How did they, if it's padlocked on this side, how do you unlock it? What was I thinking? Boy, I sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe Clone Cop had teleportation abilities earlier than we thought. It is possible. That's canon now. That works. I'm going to use a very similar padlock setup here. Maybe even the same padlock setup. Hopefully that works. And then to explain the padlock, for one thing, I think a vent would be in order here, but I would also put a spooky skeleton. That would explain how that padlock got there. This is actually probably just the default one. Maybe this one. That one seems too clean, though. Yeah, this is good. I have an idea. Does the physics tool actually respect animations in Hammer++? Don't play Easy 2 at 3 a.m. Saw the ghost of Easy 1 bad cop. Oh, that's spooky. Wait, so what if... Can I just, like, ragdoll someone from that position? That would be kind of crazy. This will be Hammer in 2025. Oh, it worked. No way. That's actually kind of crazy. Okay. Let me see if I can prevent him from flopping that much. Okay. How do I... Okay. Maybe I gotta change to a prop dynamic. Change the animation. Okay, I think the preview, because of the physics tool, is not gonna work. Manipulate the geometry around them if you want very specific poses. That's so cool, and it totally makes sense to do it that way. And make them asleep so they retain the pose. Oh. Maybe I just put him in a little box. Like if I make a box around him. Contained. So hi Heck. Hi Heck, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. So if you're wondering why I'm putting an NPC in a little box, I don't know how recently you joined the chat. I found out that this tool, Hammer++, it has a physics simulation tool that you can use to pose ragdolls. And I just learned that the posing ragdolls physics tool respects the animation that you preview the model in. So if I have him preview this sitting pose and then I tell the physics tool to scrungle him, then it should he should retain that pose. Yeah, I'm really excited. I've never used the physics tool like that before. Let's try having him do a physics simulation in a little box. I think it clipped his feet through the floor. Oh no, the box just didn't go all the way down. That's kind of cool. Wait, what? Let's unbox our... Why is he holding his hand out like that? Oh, we could totally have him carrying a shotgun or something. I just realized that could actually be kind of sick. Bro's chillaxed. Yeah, and then what I do is I'm gonna replace him with a scary skeleton. The skeleton event. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is actually really cool. I've never done that before. What? You just position him across from the door so you're sure to see it. Sans. Yeah, we found him. What if I just gave him like a shotgun? You can pick up the shotgun that way. Yeah, so usually, like when I used to make maps in this hack, if I used a ragdoll, the ragdoll would just be T-posed, and I would just have the ragdoll fall from the ceiling to simulate landing in a realistic pose, right? But now, this is called Hammer++, and it's like a fan-made version of the level editor tool. Not fan-made, but fan-modified. Oh, that wasn't exactly what I wanted. Okay. I don't think the hitbox of this is gonna play nicely. That's close enough. It's close. A full poser would be wild. Yeah, like SFM or like Gary's mod, but for making maps. That'd actually be so much fun. I did see somebody on Reddit was working on an open source alternative to Hammer, and that got me really excited. Dude with a shotgun. Bro offers you the shotgun. Do you accept? So, an idea I have is... Okay, so we're still just doing block out right now, but oh, I don't have that in the FGG. I want to try to have a little scene where you pick up a gun with very few bullets in it. You can go over here and find this cache, and you can use the gun to open this lock. But if you do that, that's going to alert the monster to your presence. So just insert monster here. Scary. And then I think I'm probably going to end the stream pretty soon. I know we didn't get very far today, but I want to make sure to quit while we're ahead, because these streams are very draining. I'm going to continue working on this off stream. I'm also going to plan another stream for it. Grabbing a shotgun from a skeleton reminds me of a certain other mod. I thought you were going to say Doom. Wait, what other mod has a shotgun with a skeleton? Be careful because the shotgun might awaken the ragdoll. Yeah, we'll see how it fares. I'm not super concerned. I also don't have any lighting yet. I'm gonna add lighting in this room only. Let's make this gray. Like a different gray. I like the same. Oh, we'll do brown. Nah, that just looks silly. Let's see. I want to have this guy illuminated. I want to use one of those like fancy vent lights that we use in EZ2, but I think for now, for testing, we want some rapid prototyping here. I'm just gonna grab like a generic light, like this one. Oops. And for this light in particular, I'm going to point it straight down at the guy. Okay, I just want to do a little test of this crude scene. We'll see how it looks, and then we'll probably wrap up stream for today, but I still have a lot to do on this map. We're just barely scratching the surface here. I think it'll go a lot faster now that I have the basic like shape of the map done. Oops, wrong map. So here we have a gun, but we don't have much ammo for it. We don't have any slams to get into this room to get the supplies. This is where we have the spooky scene. The shotgun is nowhere to be... Oh, he's sitting on it. That's kind of awkward. Okay, never mind. So we'll rethink the position of the shotgun, but... I'm going to break the lock to get the shotgun. But I think someone probably heard us. Unless we're out of hearing range. I think someone probably heard us. Uh-oh. I want to add a V script that has the monster. Okay, it actually didn't see us. You have to make the ragdoll server side to have a collision. All prop ragdoll entities are server side by default. There's no way to do a client side. Look at the IK on those animations, the walk animation. Anyways, I want to have oh, poor guy is stuck. Well, okay. I want to have a script that makes him run away if you do enough damage. So it's like you can attack him head on and do some damage, and then he'll run off. Sort of like Alien Isolation, or like Amnesia: The Bunker. Those two games. I really want it to have that feeling. I know it feels like we just started. It really does. But I think I'm going to wrap up a little early to give myself more time. Then I hope to return next weekend. I still need to double check my calendar, so I'll post an update in my Discord server. But next weekend I want to keep going with mapping streams. So we can continue from here. Hopefully by then I'll have a little bit of progress into some other areas. And yeah, also on Thursday I intend to play the mod Disbelief for Half-Life 2 and Disrepair, its sequel. But I'll post a finalized calendar on my Discord, possibly on Blue Sky as well, if I want to draw more attention to it. We are going to raid my friend Yui. She's playing War Thunder. So if you like tanks, planes, tanks and planes, really. I think that's about it. I feel like war simulation games. It's always a fun time. Oh, thanks, Menace. I just realized I'm in an ad break, so I don't know if people can hear me or not. War Dumber has ships and boats too. I've never actually seen the ship combat in War Thunder. Actually, I'd be interested to see that. Yeah, we're gonna go watch some tanks. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. I appreciate it, and I think this has been a good stream. I'm becoming more comfortable with the pace of mapping. I know it takes a really long time to make things, but we're getting there, and I really like how this add-on is shaping up. So thanks everybody for supporting this and coming along. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget to watch the videos. Yes, I forgot to show them, but I will watch them off stream. But yeah, for now, in the meantime, I guess I will raid out. Scar Zero looking good so far. Have a good one. Thanks, XD. Thanks, PZ2701. Have a good night, good stream. Thank you. Have a good night too. And bye, everybody. Bye. Bye for now.